moving on.
Moving on to current events. News. So, Josh, you were going to talk about... you're talking about a thing that's actually, was pimped at the Reason Rally. There's been a lot of talk about it.
Okay, well, in today's ChicagoTribune.com or online, Military Non-Believers event shows There Are Atheists in Foxholes by Colleen Jenkins. And I got this off Reuters. This talks about the Rock Beyond Belief down at Fort Bragg. It was sort of a week later follow-up. They had a little concert there at the fort, for non-theists. It wasn't just atheists. It was non-theists or people that don't specify any particular religion. Now, this is in response to, back in 2010, they had some big Christian thing with, what's his name? Who's the guy that locked himself up in the tower and said, I need $3 million or else God won't let me come out of the tower?
I don't know.
It was one of those guys on TV. It was the 700 Club guy.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, that's what he did. He locked himself up in the tower and said, God won't let me come out of the tower until I get this much money. Well, suffice to say, he, in 2010, organized a big religious thing there. And so in response to that, since we had the Reason Rally, we had a lot of momentum, they decided to do the Rock Beyond Belief.
Yes. Which actually was, you're getting to it, was a point of contention. I know it was hard for them to get it done.
Yeah, well, actually, they had a lot of pushback from the military, and then there were a lot of religious folks that were arguing against it. My problem with this article, though, is, well, I'll read the section. Though some Christian groups asked the Defense Department not to allow the non-theist event, and many other critics groused about it through social media, the gathering Saturday had a peaceful vibe without a protester in sight. Well, they don't actually comment on who was grousing, which is always a problem I've got, is much like at the Reason Rally when he said something like, they said if it rained, we wouldn't come. Who? What are you talking about?
I didn't hear anyone say that.
No, I didn't hear anyone say that. That wasn't, so I don't like unsubstantiated claims. That was something that bothered me in this article. I will say they had a couple of speakers there. I believe Richard Dawkins was there. They had some folks from the CFI that just, went and hung out at the Rock Beyond Belief. Another problem I've got with this is that the article doesn't say how many people came. It doesn't mention anywhere what the numbers were. Mm-hmm. And it occurs to me that, is that because not a lot of people came? Or is it because, depending on the author's
bias?
Yeah, bias. Is that because a lot of people did come? A free concert's a free concert. I don't care if you're a bunch of atheists or you're, whatever. Free concert's a free concert. People like free concert. You're at Fort Bragg, you go see the free concert. But that was in today's Chicago Tribune Online, where they discussed North Carolina? Yeah, North Carolina Fort Bragg Rock Beyond Belief.
Okay. Well, the article that I have is from the New York Daily News. Ultimately, it comes from the Associated Press. It is entitled, Tennessee Mom Faces Jail for Baptizing Her 2 Children Without Her Husband's Consent. Yeah. This is complicated. Josh and I have some mixed feelings on this whole thing. Now, I will start off by saying the main problem here is the charge rallied against this woman is nothing more than contempt of court. Mm-hmm. It's criminal contempt of court. Well, and the reason why I'll get to why it's criminal contempt of court, but it's contempt of court. The reason why is there was a court order during the divorce proceedings, a court order saying both parents shall be a party to religious decisions, as the law is in Tennessee. They actually have a law in the books that says that both parents need to be a party to decisions about religion. And the problem with that is that the father is a member of the United Methodist Church and the mother is a Presbyterian. Presbyterians, they'll just dunk those babies in water. That's fine. The Methodists think that you should get to the age of reason.
Which is above 7, I believe.
At the very least, yes. And they think that you should not be baptized until you understand what being baptized means.
Which actually is not an entirely unreasonable perspective, if you ask me. I mean, it is kind of sad if you have like a 6-year-old, like a week before the baptism, that gets in a car accident and then just goes to hell. I'm assuming they have some sort of caveat that allows...
There's got to be a loophole for that shit. But so the problem with that is this came up in a conversation that Josh and I were having with Joe Zemecki, actually, on Facebook regarding there was this other court case where it was an issue about prayer in school and something like that at a public school, and there was an agreement between both parties to settle the lawsuit out of court, according to, a court-ordered settlement agreement. And the principal of the school went on the air the day they signed the settlement agreement. He went on a radio show and bashed the plaintiffs in the case. And so the judge called them all back in and said, "I'm not going to charge you with contempt of court. You need to apologize. On air, publicly, you need to apologize." And the question that came up was, well, can a judge do that? Isn't that like a violation of the First Amendment right? Truth be told, contempt of court is one of those things judges can do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, they're pretty much free on that one. I think you're being contemptuous. There you go. Done.
Go to jail. And the reason why they're considering this to be criminal contempt of court is because, according to these wacky nut jobs, you can't unbaptize. That's what makes it criminal.
Yeah.
So it's a criminal contempt of court charge. I mean, the charges are like 20 days in jail and a $100 fine. 20 days in jail and a $100 fine.
My problem is, if you think that the other religion's baptism is invalid, doesn't that make it, invalid? So when you baptize the kid at like 7 or 10 or whatever it is, isn't that the real baptism? The other one just doesn't exist because it's not real. I mean, I could baptize people.
So you think it works like the Quran? The newer books you're supposed to disregard the older ones in favor of the newer
okay.
ones.
Say I'm which one is it? The Methodists are those are the age of consent people?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So if I'm a Methodist and you're a Presbyterian, if I don't believe your religion is valid, I'm going to believe that your baptism is also invalid. So you're just some guy that splashed my kid with water. No big deal. So when I baptize, it'll be the real baptism. It'll be all good.
Right.
Or is it sinful to be? But if you're below the age of consent, and they seem to focus on this, who cares about the first baptism? Because you weren't able to consent.
The kid in water.
Right. You weren't able to consent anyway. Now this is granted coming from somebody who doesn't really accept any baptism because whatever. But if I was getting married to some religious chick and we had a kid, you want to dunk the kid in water? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Are you gonna
be some nice photos, I guess.
Are you gonna dunk them in olive oil?
Oh yeah.
You're gonna wash that shit off at least afterwards.
Okay, I'm not washing the olive oil off the baby.
Yeah.
We can do it that way. I'm not washing the oil off the baby.
Somebody else's job.
Yep.
So, and just to wrap up on this, because I do want to move on, but my other problem is a fucking court of law establishing that baptism is a real thing. It is a real thing because it is a physical thing that happens to a child. They do dunk water over the baby, so it's an actual thing, but it's not.
But they're just dunking water over the baby. Does that mean every time the kid takes a bath, the court has to get involved?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just because you had some person that is not your child's parent give the child a bath, and probably a piss poor one at that. But that doesn't make it like a matter for the courts.
Yeah. This is just more precedent for religious hokum to exist on the legal record. So,
yep.